Thomas puffed as fast as he could, but he wasn't watching where he was going. Thomas didn't notice that the points had been changed. Thomas puffed into the sidings and biffed into the buffers. Sticky toffee splattered everywhere. "Oh no," moaned Thomas. "I can't give the children train rides when I'm this messy." Then there was trouble. Gordon was roaring towards Percy.
"Out of my way! Express coming through!"
"Out of my way! Mail coming through!"
But Gordon didn't get out of Percy's way. Suddenly, Percy was worried.
"Oh my! Oh no! Oh help! Whoa! Oh!"
Whoa!
Gordon swerved and swayed into a siding. He bashed the buffers and toppled off the tracks. Suddenly, Thomas saw Harry rumbling towards him. Thomas backed away as fast as he could, but he didn't see Bert pulling up behind him. Thomas bumped into Bert, the stinky cheese shot into the air and splattered down all over Thomas, Bert and Harry. "Now we're really stinky," moaned Harry. "The most stinkiest engines ever," groaned Bert. Harry and Bert rushed straight to the washdown. Thomas wanted to go to the washdown too, but Thomas's cheese was all over the track. Of chocolatey cocoa powder. Thomas was ready to go, but the shunters hadn't released the brakes on the trucks. Thomas pulled as hard as he could, but the trucks wouldn't move. "I have to hurry," puffed Thomas. He heaved, he huffed, and he puffed, and at last the coupling broke. Thomas shot forward, cocoa powder flew everywhere. "Now I'll never get to take the children," puffed Thomas.
The rails were slippery. He couldn't stop in time. Donald wasn't hurt, but Sir Topham Hatt was most annoyed. "I am disappointed, Donald. I didn't expect such clumsiness from you. I had decided to send Douglas back and keep you." "I'm sorry, sir," said Donald. "I should think so, too. You have upset my arrangements. Now, James will have to help with the goods work while you have your tender mended. James won't like that." Sir Topham.
The branch line couldn't take his weight and the rails buckled. "Oh, help!" Gordon cried as he slid off the tracks and into a field. No one was hurt, but poor Gordon felt very undignified. "What will the Fat Controller say?" he groaned. "Ha!" laughed Thomas. I can get these trucks really messy and get the coal to the docks on time. Then there was trouble. The rusty coupling broke. Thomas's trucks were rolling by themselves. "Cinders and ashes!" cried Thomas. Thomas applied his brakes, but he stopped too quickly. The trucks bumped into the back of Thomas, and the coal spilled all over the tracks. Thomas was stuck. First. Suddenly the signal turned red. James applied his brakes and screeched to a halt. But Edward couldn't stop in time. "Sorry," puffed Edward. "I didn't have time to stop." "Don't worry," moaned James. "It was my fault for pushing in." "You're finally in a poster," chuckled Thomas. "Maybe you are good enough after all." But James didn't feel very good. He felt very silly. Thomas grew more and more excited. Too excited for his own good. "I'm glad I'm a splendid engine," he puffed. "The Fat Controller thinks I'm really useful. I had a race with Bertie once. I whooshed through the tunnel and stopped an inch from the buffers." Then Thomas made his mistake. "Just like this," he boasted. No one was hurt, but Thomas's front was badly bent. They telephoned to the Fat Controller. "I'll send up the workmen," he said. "But if they can't mend Thomas in time, we'll have to go to the big city without him." Poor Thomas.
Oh, glory, look at that! James was just pulling out on their line from the station ahead. Any minute there could be a crash. "It's up to you now, Duck," cried the driver. Duck put every ounce of weight and steam against the cars. "It's too late," Duck groaned and shut his eyes. He veered into a siding where a barber had set up shop. He was shaving a customer. The silly cars had knocked their conductor off his van and left him far behind after he had whistled a warning. But the cars didn't care. They were feeling very pleased with themselves. "Beg pardon, sir," gasped Duck. "Excuse my intrusion." "No, I won't," said the barber. "You frightened my customers. I'll teach you." And he lathered Duck's face all over. Poor Duck.
He whooshed like the wind into Wellsworth Station. Whiff was there. Whiff was too tired to puff on. Thomas didn't see Whiff until it was too late.
Cinders and ashes!
He crashed and he bashed straight into the back of Whiff's rubbish train. The rubbish trucks clattered and battered right off the rails. Stinky rubbish and oily old engine parts toppled and tumbled over the tracks. Luckily, no one was hurt. The Dutch...
Meanwhile, Daisy, the diesel rail car, was on her way back to her shed. But then there was trouble.
Oh no! Look out!
any rocks and no brake van to help him slow down. Thomas couldn't stop.
Percy! Thomas! Look out! Look out! Sorry, Percy.
The fa- But it was even harder to control them when he was going down again. And then there was trouble.
Help! Help! Help!
What we need is speed and spin. Back up and watch the rescue.
So James backed up, Toby backed up, and Gordon waited. Then James pumped his pistons, his boiler bubbled, and his firebox fizzed.
Rescue engine to the ready!
James roared and raced down the track. He hit Gordon's buffer with a biff and a bash and a terrible smash. Gordon the Grand had toppled off the track into the muddy fen, and James the rescue engine had splished and sploshed into the mud after him.
Oh, the indignity.
Oh, my paintwork.
At the yards, Percy was collecting trucks. Then he heard Boulder. Oh no, it's heading straight for me! When the Fat Controller inspected the damage, he decided to close the mine. Then he looked at Boulder. We should have left this part of the island alone, he said thoughtfully. Percy didn't know that earlier a leaky truck had spilled oil on the track. When he approached the chocolate factory, his driver applied the brakes, but Percy's wheels just skidded on the oily rails. Oh no! hooted Percy. Yuck! He groaned. I've never been this dirty. He was covered from funnel to firebox in sticky, gooey chocolate.
A goods train was waiting in the siding to let the flying kipper pass, and the driver and fireman were drinking cocoa in the brake van. The kipper is due, said the guard. Who cares, said the fireman. This is good cocoa. The driver got up. Come on, fireman, back to our engine. They got out just in time. Henry's driver and fireman had jumped clear before the crash, but Henry lay dazed and surprised. The Fat Controller came to see him. The signal was down, sir, said Henry. Cheer up, Henry, it wasn't your fault. Ice and snow caused the accident. I'm sending you to Crewe, a fine place for sick engines. They'll give you a new shape and a larger firebox. You'll feel a different engine and won't need special coal anymore. Won't that be nice? Yes, sir, said Henry doubtfully.
Then there was trouble. As Gordon approached the new station, neither the driver nor fireman could apply his brakes. Something had jammed. The driver reduced steam, but Gordon was still going too fast.
Help me, please.
Well, Gordon, said Sir Topham Hatt, I knew you wanted a panoramic view, but this is not the way to achieve it.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
But Thomas didn't want to listen. He was too cross. He kept thinking about what was on the other side of the mountain. And he wasn't looking where he was going.
No! Thomas! Watch out!
I can't stop! Help!
Luckily, nobody was hurt. One day, Henry was pulling a very important goods train on his way to the mainland.
Faster! Faster! Hurry up, Henry! We haven't got all day!
A faulty signal should have warned Henry there was another goods train stuck on the track up ahead. Then, everything happened at once. Poor Henry wouldn't be going to the mainland now. The load did hold, but not quite long enough.
Oh, crumbs! That's torn it! It's Rex! I said it was easy! I said it was easy!
Then everything happened at once.
Rex! Rex! Watch out! Slow down! Stop! Stop!
Ned was still dreaming of knocking buildings down and wasn't watching where he was going. "Look out!" cried his operator. But it was too late. The chimney rocked, the bricks crumbled, the workmen and the foreman took cover. Oliver and Thomas watched in amazement. Oops.
Faster! Faster!
Edward was right. Cars can run an engine right off the rails. Stay right there, James. I'll go and get help.
Rosie! Help! James! James! James!
Oh,
You okay, James?
I think so. How's my paint looking? I'm really in trouble now.